it'll always be a special club. Whether it's special to one person or special to people all over the world, it'll always be special. And for me personally, and for my family, generations, it'll always be special. It's more than just a football club for me. It's a family. It's people who you meet up with, people you don't see all year round, and you go off all summer, don't see each other, and you come back, and it's just a siege mentality. It's your friends. It's Arsenal. It's us against them, and it's something you can't replicate. And there's so many emotions involved in football, but for me, being part of something like this is something that I can't replace. It almost feels to me like over the past few years there's been a sort of a battle going on behind the scenes, and I think that Arsene Wenger and Stan Kroenke have been winning the small battles, but I think now Gazidis and maybe Josh might start winning the war. I think we had to have some shackles put on us, and I think all credit to Arsene Wenger throughout them years. Absolutely phenomenal job to keep us competing, keeping us in the Champions League. We were unlucky on a few occasions. We had the season with Eduardo leg break, and we were very, very close. But realistically, since the sort of shackles have come off, we brought in the Ozil, Sanchez, players like that. I mean, we spent big money on Xhaka, Mustafi. Football's changed. Players like Aubameyang. This is where we need to kick on as a club, and why we haven't won the title in probably the last, or even challenged. I mean, there's so many clubs out there now. I mean, really, you can see Spurs coming to the fore. You've got Man City, absolutely phenomenal what they're doing on and off the pitch. Man United are still the biggest club in the world. Chelsea are always going to be there. So it's become more difficult, definitely, but I definitely don't think we're owning our size, and I think that I think the squad's fairly decent and things like that, but I just feel that maybe Arsene is coming to his fore, and I've enjoyed and loved everything he's done for us, but I think that is not the sole reason, because there are other circumstances, but I think it's a big part of it that we're ready for that change. It's more reactive rather than proactive. I think this is why Arsene Wenger manages during games. He doesn't seem to have a plan or an approach, and I think it's the same in the transfer market by the looks of things. And like you're saying, that Thomas Lemar thing for me was a shambles, because Alexis clearly was off to City. We couldn't get the deal through. Was it 92 million? I mean, that's an astonishing amount, and he's clearly a very talented player, and it might well happen again in the future. But for me, that was more a case of selling the Oxlade-Chamberlain and Alexis, combining that fee and spending it on Lemar just to appease the sale. And clearly it didn't go through. And like you said, he stayed for another sort of 6 months into January, and then we knew we was going to lose him for nothing, and we got the trade in for Mkhitaryan. But it's all reactive, it's not proactive, do you know what I mean? And that is throughout the club. It's not, oh look, we're going to lose out in Champions League, let's sort this out. It's more, oh, we've lost out in Champions League, let's try and repair it. And it stinks really, from Stan right down to Arsene, and everyone's comfortable, and it needs to change. And we talk about the players, and again, and I know they are an issue, but Alexis at the time at the club, clearly things weren't right. He was frustrated, as every player seems to be, but maybe he just had a lower threshold than others, and he was causing disruption, and he took it a lot harder than anyone else. But it must be very difficult for these players in this current circumstance to perform. The fans are, every single player is getting venom. The manager doesn't seem to really know what's happening. There's no instruction from above, and it just, the only thing that makes me feel nice is that someone like Aubameyang would commit to this club. I mean, he could play for most clubs in Europe, and he chose to play for the Arsenal. So we're still a pull, we're still the club that we want to be, but there's so many things wrong that need to put him right. I went through a stage of feeling angry, and I mean, probably the last time when we'd done the Stagnating Giant, I was sort of at that stage where I was still so frustrated and angry of the situation, but now it's become more apathy. It's quite painful, really. I mean, instances like Man City the other week, and you're going down there and the ground's half full, and all these people I'm talking about who we love and enjoy the football with, no one's there, and it's obviously the weather and things, but it's become a bit like that, and the discontent in the stands is becoming too much again. The banners are back out, and it's just a never-ending circle, and my thoughts that things definitely have to change, and someone within that hierarchy has to come out and make this happen, because we talked about the stagnating giant. I mean, we're the receding giant now. This is the other part of the issue. As much as I've got problems with Arsene Wenger's tactical approach and the things he does on and off the pitch, there is a bigger picture where this is being allowed to happen, where Stan is total disregard for us as a fan base. He's not interested in what we achieve on the pitch. It's clear to me that it is a money cash cow, and a lot of American owners try to make a quick buck out of football, and they need to realise that this is real, this is us, this is our lives. There's people that come here, travel the country, there's people that have got no money at all and they spend their whole money on coming to the Arsenal. It means so much to us as a club, and to see us standing still and not even attempting to own our size. And I mean, this isn't talking about winning Premier Leagues every year, this is talking about even competing, even being on a level, and Stan hasn't pushed that for the last few years. That's blatantly obvious. He's happy to concentrate on continuing to make money, and with the TV deal, that's made the fact that we've not made the Champions League, that's helped him. That's helped Wenger a lot, because Stan would have noticed that money a hell of a lot more without this TV deal that the Premier League have got. And the difference in cash, if we fail to make the Champions League again, with what we see everyone else is doing around us, the investment going on all over the country, all these clubs are spending money. It's crazy. You're seeing teams like Burnley spend £18 million and £15 million on players. I mean, that is unheard of. I mean, until a few years ago, our record signing was about £18 million. So football has changed drastically, and again, Stan is massively accountable, and for me it seems like he doesn't care. He just doesn't care, and I'm hoping that Josh, being younger, being a bit more proactive, like you said, he's over it. I just hope that he sees and he gets a feel for the club, and when he actually comes and spends time here and around the place, it's more than just a football club, and we need to be competing. The saddest thing of all is that fans have given up. I think a lot of fans have given up. There's been all the protests, everything's happened, that's been and gone. He signed a new 2-year deal, and we're here again another year later. Same thing's happening. We're 6th in the league. We're knocked out from Nottingham Forest, beat by Östersunds. I mean, this season has been, it can't get worse than it has. I mean, I know everyone says, oh, you should appreciate what you got, but we're Arsenal Football Club. We've got this massive stadium, we've got a cracking squad, we've got funds available, so we need to kick on from this. But yeah, I mean, the match, it's not the same. It really ain't the same, and obviously when you're winning and when you're successful, everyone's upbeat, everyone's on the same page, everyone's enjoying it. But I mean, at the moment, there's people arguing and fighting and everything happening all the time. And unfortunately, with football the way it is now, and when emotions are high and people are frustrated, some people are sad, some people are still angry, some people can't believe what's going on, some people still want Wenger there. So there's such a mixture, and it just feels like we as a fan base are not pulling in the same direction, and it becomes quite an unpleasant scenario to be in at times. I'm a mental wreck. I go to the game, I don't know how to react. You can't, it's hard to stop the rut. Once you're in it, you need change, because this is a continuous thing, and this hasn't just been solely this season. We've got away with it in previous seasons, if we're brutally honest. We've won cups, which is absolutely fantastic, and teams would kill to go to a cup final at Wembley and win a trophy, and we've been so fortunate to win 3 in the last sort of 4 years. But it's almost as if it's just massively papering over those cracks, and it's been on a decline for a while, and it's not stagnating anymore, like I was saying, it's a decline. And things like Koscielny being heartbroken, he's been here for a few years now, and he's seen the decline himself. He's probably seen the decline of Arsene Wenger right in front of his eyes, and it's just such a difficult place to be in, because you don't know how people, individuals react to the situation until it occurs. And I mean, for me, it is heartbreaking at the moment to see everything happening as it is, all these players getting abused, and the discontent amongst the fans, and it's not right, and the only thing that will sort it out is change. And these guys that are coming behind the scenes, I do believe that they're sort of taking the reins off Arsenal a bit, and I sort of see players like Aubameyang signing for the club, 60 million, 28-year-old, no resale value. Wenger's never signed a player like that, never. I mean, even we've got Ozil, Lacazette, players like they're 25, they've got another sale in them if we wanted it, and on the pitch, I just think Wenger's finished. As much as it pains me to say, the guy's done a lot for the club, but it's been a few years now where he's been increasingly frustrating, and I think this year has really hit home when, like you say, how close we are to Burnley. Man City are an absolutely phenomenal side, but we are light years away from being anywhere near them, and they might well go on to win the Champions League, so that's not a great comparison. But even when you look at Spurs, we're 13 points behind Spurs, double figures, I mean, it's not acceptable, mate. And if Arsene does continue in charge, it possibly could get worse before it gets better, but that's where, fingers crossed, someone up there in the hierarchy, and I do think things are happening, but hopefully it happens now rather than another 2 years down the line, because like you say, that could be disastrous for the club. We've had the protests, we had the time for change protest in the stadium, nothing happened. We had the marches, signed a new deal. I mean, what can we do? It's clear to me that the only thing we can do is hope that someone in that hierarchy gains control, because Stan clearly doesn't care. I mean, we as fans, it's breaking my heart at the moment. The attendances are low, there's no one coming. Everyone's disappointed, no one's looking forward to the game. I mean, we're playing Man City on a Thursday night in the snow. that stadium, if we were 3 points off the top, it would have been full, packed to the rafters, regardless of the conditions. And just, there was so much apathy there. It was almost as if when we went behind, the people that were there, we just sat there like, well, this is where we're at now. And not just that, games, I mean, the games of late, Ostersund's at home and things like that, it's a clear indication that things are beyond repair for me. And as fans, I can't see what we can do. We just need to keep going, keep having a beer, keep trying to smile. And there will be discontent and people will get up each other's backs and people will argue. But even now, I think it's getting to a stage where people have been slating the players so much that they're just sort of like, well, we can't even do that anymore, because it's week in, week out that people are underperforming. And when you watch how well drilled teams like Man City are and that, and the modern managers, what Pochettino's doing, people like Allegri and all these managers out there, the way they play football, football's changed so much that we as fans can't impact what's going on with Arsene Wenger and behind the scenes. But I think we just got to stick with it, mate, because like people will say, oh, look at Arsenal, they're 6th in the league, you shouldn't be moaning all this, but we know our size, we know where we can be, we know where we can compete with, and we're just not doing it. So I think we just got to pray for everything crossed that the club takes us seriously now as fans. Listen, I think the players, for me, are not to blame. They do take a part in it, and of course they do, and I always refer to this. You look at that Chelsea side under Jose, they won the title. The next season, it all hit the pan. Jose Mourinho is causing absolute havoc, the tactics are wrong, all the players don't believe in him anymore, things have gone on behind the scenes, Chelsea fans saying the three rats, Costa, Hazard, Cesc. Jose steps out, next thing happens, they win the league again. So with regards to the players, a lot of them are getting a hell of a lot of stick at the moment, and I do believe a lot of them have a top quality and the potential to be one of the best in Europe in their positions. Yes, I've been frustrated at times, and everyone has, they say things, they get upset with the scenario, but if I got the chance to speak to the guy, I'd shake his hand and say, you taught me football. You showed me everything I loved about the game. The beautiful game. You made me believe, and I could never. That would never change, and there will never be another Arsene Wenger for me. But it's gone on too long, and I'd say, Arsene, someone needs to grab you and shake you and say, please, just walk away now. Thanks for everything. You're a wonderful man. You're a philosopher. You're an incredible human, but you're not the right man for us anymore, Arsene. That's what I'd say. Me personally, I'd like to see him step down. As much as it pains me saying, I never thought it'd ever come to this. I mean, that guy has brought me everything as a fan. Like I said, the ages I was born. I mean, my first game wasn't under Wenger, but it was Stuart Houston was in charge, and that's a long time ago. But since when I can really remember football and enjoying it, yeah, that was Arsene Wenger. So I never ever thought it'd get to this stage, and I just think that he's reluctant to let go. He doesn't see his life past football. He doesn't envisage what will happen. Every interview he's adamant about if he leaves he'll manage another club and things like this, and respecting his contracts. But I think there comes a stage where if he's not willing to step down, which I think would be the honourable thing and the right thing for him to do, and he would, if he did leave now, he'd be remembered like he should be. But like you said, I think it just could be getting worse and worse at the club, and I don't want it to get to a stage where he could be forced to be sacked. I just would love to see, personally, I'd love us to bring this new manager in. I don't care who it is, I just want someone with a set style and a set way of playing football that we can get behind as a fan base. We can all get together, start supporting our players again, start enjoying the football again, get the numbers back down here, and just get back to being the Arsenal and the way we love it, because at the moment it's not very nice.